Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today's video is going to be me turning Shannon Christine Designs Hello Summer that I cross-stitched into a scrapbook layout. So I stitched this on fabric, so it's a little bit different than what you need to do to finish it than when you stitch it on perforated paper. So right here, I am figuring out the border I want around the outside, and I think I picked a 1/2 inch, if I remember. So I'm just measuring each side because I'm going to cut off that excess fabric. I use a rotary cutter and that quilt cutting board, which I got on Amazon. I will try to link all of that down below if I can. I don't know if they still carry it. But yeah, like I said, stitching it on fabric and finishing it is it's more complicated than stitching it on perforated paper. Perforated paper is very easy to cut with scissors. It's just, yeah. So like I said, I'm trimming the excess fabric around the outside because you want to have, even though I want a border around the outside of like a 1/2 inch, I left more so I can wrap it around the sticky mat board. You're going to see me do that. And obviously, this is a voiceover. I recorded the video because it's much easier for me to just do it and then put the voiceover behind it and basically narrate the story or narrate the finish. But yeah, you know, trying to get all of this in the viewfinder, it's challenging. You'll see when I go to miter the corners, it's challenging for sure. Okay, so I have the fabric all cut evenly. And you can see there's like a little bit of a crease down the center, but once you stretch the fabric around mat board, you get it out. So now I'm measuring what I need to cut my mat board to, because I'm cutting my mat board to the size of the design plus a 1/2 inch on either side. So normally I would have a piece of paper and a pen next to me, but I didn't this time. I just remembered the measurement in my head. And, you know, I'll be honest, these tutorials, this is not the only way to do something. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination on doing this stuff. I eyeball a lot of it. I really do. I want this to be as least painful for my brain as possible. So this is sticky self-matting board for needlework that I actually got it off of Amazon. I will link it down below. And you can get it though at like Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I was just impatient and I was sick, so I wasn't going out of the house. So one side is sticky and one side isn't. And what I do is I use a box cutter and you'll see I go over it like once or twice. And it takes a little bit, you know, to do all of this. It takes practice. I know I've messed up some projects doing this because, like I said, I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But I really love that ruler. And I think it's by Ofra. I don't know if that's the company. I know I have it on my Amazon page. I'll link it. Excuse me, still getting over my cold. But it has a lip on the top that it stays when you hook it like to the edge of the board, which you can't see it, it's out of the viewfinder. But yeah, see how I didn't like cut it all the way? But once you get a pretty good groove, I just went over it again with my knife. And then you'll see I have it cut. And you could save that other piece if you were going to complete an ornament, maybe. But I didn't. I just threw it away. So now I'm trying to cut. I'm trying to remember. I was like kind of confused here. I'm like, oh no, did I do it right? Yeah, I did it right. I did. But I'm just trying to cut it correctly. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? I need to do the other side 5.5. So, and I just used, a pencil and put a little line so I knew where to cut. I have all kinds of tools on my table there. Over my years and whatever of crafting and finishing, I've amassed quite the set of tools. Kind of like Bill in his man shed, having all kinds of tools and stuff. Bit by bit by bit. But I really love finishing the fabric ones as scrapbook layouts too, because it's just a more compact and easy way, in my opinion, to finish a cross-stitch layout instead of framing it. Now, and normally you'll see later on when I actually get into the scrapbook part, I didn't have like a layout template that I normally use. I just winged it. Okay, so there is a cover that you're supposed to peel off. And I was having trouble, as you can see, like the whole thing was like peeling up and I'm like, what the hell right now? But I do finally get it. Finally, I do. Riding that struggle bus right here, trying to do this. Oh my God. I'm probably cussing. I'm sure I was. Because I was like, what the actual F, Okay, finally, yay. Now, sometimes I would, see, this time I debated though, like, okay, do you flip it upside down and stick it on the back because then you can see where you're sticking it? Or I'm like, okay, do I flip it over and stick it on the front? I have done it that way before, and sometimes it's not centered. So I would advise doing it that way, flipping your piece upside down and sticking the mat board on the back. That way you can see where you're sticking it. Do you know what I mean? And I did a pretty good job. It was pretty even as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, maybe not perfect, like it probably could have been moved over a tiny bit, but all I do is once you stick it down, I just smooth it down. And you have the option, you could actually even put like quilt batting if you wanted it a little puffy. When I frame, that's what I do. I'll put quilt batting on the sticky side and then put my fabric around it. Now you'll have to, if you do it that way, you're going to really have to put tape or something on the back. So I use, this is Stitchery tape. I will link that down below too. I bought it from Amazon before, or 123 Stitch has it. It's double-sided tape that is used for framing needlework. I actually, and it's coming in the mail today, I actually bought these self-adhesive like double-sided sticky dots from Top Knot Stitcher, and it's for finishing. They may be easier than using this tape, but since I already had the roll of tape, and the tape isn't cheap, I want to say it's like $15 a roll, something like that. I have used it many, many times in framing needlework in the past because I am not someone who laces their work. You know how you do on the back? I don't do that. So I am just, and I realized when I stuck those two pieces down, like, why didn't I just go the long ways? I don't know. So I'm not worried so much about getting the tape in the center, just all around the outside, because I want to be able to stick the fabric down. So you're going to see that what I do to get tight corners on fabric, you know, because you want it like perfectly, I was going to say cornerized, which is not even a word, but you want like crisp, clean corners. And I watched so many videos on how to do that. And the way that I finally discovered for me, the best way is to miter the corners. And so you're going to see me doing that. It is the most time-consuming part of the entire thing. Yeah, by far it is. But it's worth it. And I practiced. I took scrap pieces of paper and mat board and just practiced to get my technique down and to just practice getting the corners as tight as you can. Now, I will say it is much easier on even weave or linen to get really tight, crisp corners because the fabric is thinner and stretchier than Aida. You know, this is Aida that I did this on. So Aida is thicker and stiffer. So it is harder to, in my opinion, to get those tight, crisp, clean corners. But I think I do a pretty good job. So what I do is I go ahead and I stick down all the corners first. And you can pull this tight. I pulled it pretty tight. And then you just go through and then you fold in the insides. Now I really stretched it here. I really pulled the fabric tight here. And this is how I basically pulled out that line in the center. You can't see it once I flip it over. I also iron my piece when I'm done before I start doing any of this. Yeah, I remember practicing this so much. I practiced and practiced and practiced. It really is practice makes perfect. So some people just leave it like this, but you can see how it's kind of like lumpy in the corners. So now I take a needle, I take DMC that is as close to the fabric color as I can get. And I pull a strand out, do the loop method to start, and just do a whip stitch. You're gonna see. So the first corner I did in real time. The other three I sped up to like 4 times because it took so long to do this that I didn't want to make you guys sit through it. And when I do the other 3 corners, I actually got up really close so you can see. And like I said, practice makes perfect with this. And my thread kept coming out of my needle, which is so frustrating. It's because when you pull the thread, I pull it really tight. You're trying to get it as tight as you can so that line and that corner winds up being crisp. Now, I started this one down further. You don't need to start that far down because really you're just worried about the top. I would say the top 1/2 inch you could get away with. And you'll see the other 3 sides that I do, I wound up not starting so far down. But yeah, I start with the loop method so I have a good tight start. And then I am just doing a whip stitch basically, feeding it through both sides of the fabric. And it, like I said, my fingers were sore when I was done all 4 sides because doing this on Aida is more difficult than if you're using even weave or linen. But yeah, out of all the methods I've ever tried to like attach needlework to mat boards and stuff, this is the only way that I could really get a crisp, clean corner. Yeah. Like I said, my method is not the only way. So if I'm doing something that you may not necessarily do, it doesn't mean either one of us are wrong. I just prefer to do it this way. And I thought I would show you guys how I did it because I honestly don't remember if this video is still on my channel because I did a video on how I miter corners. I think it's on there because that was a pretty old video. It would be under my cross stitch playlist, like my tutorials. But yeah, I'm getting to the end. The end is the trickiest part of the whole thing because the fabric, there's a lot of fabric in that little bitty bit. And I had trouble getting the needle through in some spots. Now, when I get up to the very tippy top, I'm going to go through one more time. See how I'm having trouble? Because the fabric is so tight up there and thick. There are some people that will even trim excess fabric in the corner there. I think I've seen that on a tutorial, and that helps too. But what I'll do, see how that's pretty tight? I will take my needle and go into the corner and kind of like try to pull it down towards the middle of the piece, if that makes sense. See how I'm trying to go in from that way? I'll go in the corner and then just go down a little bit. And it's really proving tight. And then I'll pull it, and it makes it tight. It's pretty good, looking good. So I am getting ready now to speed up the other 3 sides. And then I just will run the needle underneath a couple of threads, just underneath the fabric a couple times, and then just cut it off. Because once you stick that down, it's not coming up. The threads aren't coming out. So now comes, you're going to see it like, you're going to see it like sped up 4 times. And it still took like 3 or 4 minutes to get through the rest of them. But see how I started like up more towards the middle? But you're going to see here, I wind up changing the angle, not of the camera, but like how close I am. And I get really, really close in there. And sometimes it goes blurry because of how close I got and then my hand got in the way. There's no way around that. So you'll just see how close I am now. I really wanted to show you up close how I did it. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry for some of the blurry parts. It's just kind of unavoidable. That one I did, that was a really good one. That one turned out really good, that corner. But yeah, you just go on to all 4 sides. Like I said, this is the most time-consuming part of the whole thing. Now, when I frame a piece, I don't miter the corners like that, because when you press it into a frame, you're not going to see the corners anyway. I only do it when you're actually going to see the entire piece, like on a scrapbook layout. But I am dead serious that I have no more wall space, so scrapbook layout it is, unless I start moving pieces around or putting some away or selling some or doing something, because I got no more wall space. Yeah, it gets so hard when you get into that corner. It's like a ball of fabric in that corner. But if you take your time, now obviously this is sped up, but it took me like a good 40 minutes to do this, I want to say. Looking good. And don't be afraid to try to finish your own things. Don't be afraid. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Because I am surely one of the... I've watched a lot of videos. I mean, YouTube is a huge wealth of information as far as how to do something. So, again, like I said, I started there, like almost in the middle of that side, because you just don't need to get all that fabric. You don't need to start way at the bottom. And I think I was also just getting a little bit impatient and just wanted this part to be done. But you can't really rush it. You have to do it right if you want it to look right. And there's also, you could also use trim around the outside, like pom-pom trim if you really wanted to. I chose not to on this one. I have in the past. I need to find a good way to attach the trim, either by sewing it onto the piece or gluing it right. I've never been able to like perfect it where it looks perfect. And that's my goal. My goal when I finish a piece is to have the finishing look perfect. Which, we know nothing's perfect, but I try to get as close as I can. So then, like I said, I come in from the top and go down a little bit and pull that corner in even more. Looking good, looking good. And all done. So now, this is the scrapbook layout that I picked. It was Simple Stories Sunshine something. And usually, like I said, I'll look on the gallery on scrapbook.com to try to find a layout I like to emulate somewhat. I couldn't really find one this time. I liked the papers and stuff, and I knew what base paper I was going to use. But as far as like what matting paper I wanted to use, this is me just trying it out because I did not have it in my head what I wanted to do. And I love using the stickers. They usually come with a sticker sheet because the stickers are just so easy. It's just, I love scrapbook layouts and papers and glitter and all that kind of stuff. And some of the ones I've done have turned out really good. And you also don't need something that is so elaborate and complicated. This one that I did here, to me, was very simple. It literally was just matting the cross stitch with 2 papers and then putting stickers. That's it. Because there were words, see, I do have one thing. If there are words in the cross-stitched piece, I normally do not like to put a title or a lot of words in the layout. If there are no words in the layout, I will put the title of the piece normally somewhere in the layout. So, yeah. But yeah, so this is my base paper. I knew I wanted to use that. And so now I have to cut that border off. And I'm getting my Fisker's paper cutter, which I absolutely love. This is a pretty inexpensive one. I'm pretty sure I got it off Amazon. And so I backed the camera up a little bit. And there's an arm on the side that does fold out if you wanted that, but I didn't need that for this, for cutting these papers. But yeah, they always come with a border on the bottom that you have to cut. So, and then it makes the paper 12 by 12. So I feel like I have found the 2 papers that I want, but I actually changed my mind about the one. I really like that paper, the pink and the yellow. Really like that one. But that bottom one, I'm like, eh. So I wind up finding a teal, like, dotted paper. Not that one either. I was going to use that one, but I'm like, nah. No, I don't use that one. That's the one I use. I like that teal one very much. And if you buy the kit, like it's a collection kit that I bought on scrapbook.com for, I want to say like $12. It's so worth it. It's just worth it to buy the kit because you get everything, all the papers and the... I was even changing my mind there a little bit, but I didn't wind up going that way. And this is why I like to film it and then do a voiceover, because if I'm trying to talk, I can't concentrate on what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? So now it's time to cut the paper. And this is where I say I eyeball it. I totally eyeball it. You'll see, I put it in the paper cutter and just keep cutting, cutting, cutting until I'm satisfied with it. So I move the base paper to the side, obviously, because now I have to cut these 2 matting papers. And sometimes I will even use felt. I haven't used felt in a long time because the scrapbook papers just come with it, so. But yeah, so I'm just cutting the papier. Like I said, I'm just eyeballing it as to how much of a border I want. And I think I wound up like a 1/4 inch around the outside for that one. And then a little bit more for the green paper. And you know, I like color and patterns and glitter and all that. So I'm usually not like a plain, we know this, I'm not like a plain Jane kind of person when it comes to like using papers, scrapbook papers and stickers. Try not to make it too busy where it detracts from the stitching. You'll see, I think it turned out cute. My layout turned out cute, I think. I like it. And then the coffee one I'm working on as of the filming of this video, the Hocus Pocus coffee one, I will definitely probably do that as a scrapbook layout too. And I know I have Halloween papers and I have coffee themed papers, so I'm going to need to try to combine those somehow. Because that piece is only, it's not even, it'll definitely fit on a piece of scrapbook paper. I'll have to do some investigating to see what kind of layout template I can use for that. I love having a template where it tells you where to put the stuff because I don't have to think about it. I can just cut the paper, stick. But this is a lot of fun. I enjoy the scrapbooking part of it very much. And I've even done some scrapbook. I've, done scrapbook of pictures. That's another video I should recreate. Okay, so here I'm using my Xyron Creative Station to make this into a sticker. So on the back, it's putting adhesive on the back. And on the back, there is a paper cutter. And you'll see I'm like feeding it through because it was like the paper cutter comes off. I put it back on. Like what the F? And then you push it down and it will cut the paper. I actually recently just bought a refill for this because I want to have it on hand. But this is so easy to use. And I've even put adhesive on the back of perforated paper. You're going to see I try to put the cross stitch piece in, but it's too thick for it. So I wind up doing something else to get adhesive on the back of the cross stitch piece. I was like, can I do it? No. As soon as I started to turn it, I could feel that it was like not going to do it. So no. So I put that aside because now I can lay the paper down. Do I lay the paper down? Yes, I'm going to. So you peel off the top, there's a film, and then it is sticky on the back of that. And you can buy repositionable adhesive or you can buy permanent. I have permanent in there right now. And I had an idea that I was going to use those things to like poke out from the piece all the way around. But I cut them and then I changed my mind. I decided to just use the stickers. You'll see. But yeah, I love the stickers. What I love too is that, these little kits, they coordinate. Like all the papers coordinate with all the stickers. They all have the same colors. So everything is cohesive and matching, which definitely ticks buttons. See, that's the sheet of stickers that I use, which ticks buttons in my, in me as far as wanting everything nice and neat. So yeah, I decide to like, I'm not going to use those. Because I would have had to cut those out individually. Then I'm like, nah. Bye. So now it is time to, I think I decide, yeah, I'm going to stick the papers down now. At least those two. Because I decide I'm going to put the stitched piece in the center. So again, just eyeballing it. Totally eyeballing it. And I had such a big pile of trash and paper on the floor next to me. Easy cleanup though. So yeah, again, just eyeballing it and just stick it down. That creative station is so cool. Amazon doesn't have the exact one I have, but they have like another version of it. So I will link that down below, the other version. So now I have to get adhesive on the back of the Hello Summer piece. And so what I decided to do is to use the stitchery tape because it is made for fabric. So this is where I'm like, why didn't I just do like 3 long strips? I don't know what I was thinking. You'll see. I go like there and then on the other side, and then I decide to do strips. And as soon as I did this side and the other side, I was like, why did I do that? Why didn't I just do, like I said, 3 long strips? I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, I really love that stitchery tape. That has helped me quite a bit in framing needlework and everything, because when I frame needlework and I flip it around, I stretch the fabric and then stick it to that tape that's on that side. And remember, this is double-sided tape, so you have to peel that white piece off. And then there is clear underneath of it. And I was having a little bit of trouble. You just got to smooth it down. Keep smoothing it down until you can pick up the corner. And I get it eventually. There we go. So you can see how it's clear underneath. But yeah, I think right here I was like, why did I do it this way? Like I said, why didn't I just do some strips? Because then I do the 3 strips across. Like, oh my God, come on now. You need patience when you're doing crafting. That is for sure. And there was a piece of my hair in the viewfinder. Didn't know that was in there. Yeah, I knew this would take obviously longer with me doing the voiceover, but like I said, I feel like it was worth it because then I could really concentrate on doing each step and not having to worry about, is my voice carrying? Can you hear me? Blah, blah, blah. Be careful here when you're cutting to not cut your fabric. I wasn't close to doing that, but you gotta be careful. So now I'm gonna peel off the paper to reveal the tape underneath. God. Oh my God. It's like, get off of there already. But then after I get this stuck down comes the fun part, because then you get to put the stickers down. And that's the best part, once you get the piece like centered and everything. Doing the embellishments, I should say. Hello. There we go. Okay, so all sticky on that back side, and all you do, again, I eyeball it, flip it over, I press it down, I stick it down, and then I really press it. And there are some people that will even put like heavy books on it overnight. I don't go that far. It's pretty stuck down. And I mean, you can see how the edges look so nice and neat. It looks so nice and neat, right? Now it's time to put some stickers. And I just go to town. I like these little like file tabs. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick those up top. Yeah, like I said, you can be entirely creative in this step. You can do literally whatever you want. As long as you like it, it doesn't matter. There are no rules at this part. I really like that kite. And see, what I do try to do though, like you'll see, I put something in the opposite lower right-hand corner to kind of balance it. I do try to keep like somewhat of a balance with the page, if you know what I mean. And I'm like, oh, what stickers am I going to use? I really liked all the flowers. So I think I used every flower that they had. And I think I used every like little tiny heart that they had too. You know, I gotta be the only person on the planet that doesn't like watermelon. I know, my husband loves it. And we bought some a couple weeks ago and I tried it and it just tastes like nothing. I remember, just my grandparents, as when I was a kid, had a ton of it when we would have cookouts and stuff. And yeah, but yeah, I loved the flower stickers. But then I think I pick off some of the little hearts. I was going to use the border, then I was like, nah. I decided against that. The border stickers can be really cute though too. But no, I didn't use it. Ice cream cones, sunglasses. I mean, all the things that emulate summer, right? Yeah. And like I said, I just went to town and put all kinds of stickers. Now, I started putting like the little hearts. They had little tiny hearts. I started putting them all over just around the outside of the frame. So cute though. And I have like a drink that's on my hand. Yeah, I absolutely loved this layout. I haven't disliked any that I've done. They've all turned out really good. Okay, so I decide to pick off the hat one. And if it's not stuck down too long, you can sometimes remove it. I wanted to put this flamingo in the corner there. And then I put the hat, I think, up top. I used it. Yeah, I put it up there. So it's so cute, right? But yeah, you know, this is meant to be fun. If you choose this way of finishing, it's meant to be fun, not stressful. You know, don't get stressed out. Enjoy it. Enjoy the creativity and the process, and just to think that you have something that probably nobody else has, because I don't know too many people. I don't know really anybody else that finishes stuff on scrapbook page like I do. I know there's been a couple of you that have done it since I started doing it, but before I started doing it, I didn't see anyone else do it. But it is a neat way to finish a cross-stitch project where, first of all, without too much expense and without, you know, causing you too much stress and strife with it. And I think I'm done. Yeah, I'm done with the stickers. So here is the final layout. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I did it. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.